Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Catchup. And today, our guest is a surprise for me here in Canada. How you doing, Mr. Dennis Tyson?
Doing great. And it's a pleasure to do this with you, especially.
We're in town surprising Natalie. He surprised Natalie. Our poor jawbone dropped last night when you walked in. You guys have been friends for how many years now, man?
23 years. 20.
It's a beautiful thing,
yes.
isn't it? So, what year did you graduate?
1996.
1996, my year. The best year.
Yes.
I apologize to everyone else.
I'm sorry. It's the best year.
We got Nicole and if you come and catch up. Anyway. So give everybody like a 30-second high-level milestones from graduation from 1996 till now. What have you been up to?
I don't think I can summarize everything in 30 seconds, but I can probably in about 10 minutes.
The idea.
And I have somewhere there.
So graduation then?
Left high school in 96 and had a fight with, what was the vice principal name again? I forgot her name, and she was the vice principal of Mannix.
And what does she look like?
Just light skin. I think she came from White House, that side. She had 2 kids. Her husband was in the army.
I don't even know that person. How long was she vice principal?
For quite a while, man. For quite a while. Because I remember...
Mrs. Monroe?
Mrs. Monroe. Yes. There you go, Mrs. Monroe.
You had a fight with Mrs. Monroe?
Yes, because...
Sorry, go ahead.
Obviously, I must have won. Why she made it very, very clear that they don't want me back for 6-1. And that was the year before they had this thing in school where you had to wear sober socks, sober bags. And I remember it was me, Amber, Kenya Perry, Slippery, Fiona Raymond, Natalie Ennis, Janice Dawson. Janice, yeah, that's you. And we were some rebels, and I remember wearing a brown socks and a black socks. And Mr. Dad gonna stop me at the auditorium after we had the devotion. He said, boy, how wear I wear? I said, yes, I can't wear sober socks, right? So I wear black and brown. He said, go straight to the principal's office. I said, for what? And then we had an issue with the bags. We had to wear either black, brown, or navy blue bag. And what the group of us did was we got our bags, put it in scanner bags, and we wrote sober bags on it. And we all got punishment. So vice principal was adamant that behaviors like that she can't tolerate. And to have me come back to Mannix in 6th form, it was just not tolerated. And she told my mom point blank, no, he got the grades, but his behavior and who he is,
unacceptable. Just
not gonna happen. And Mr. Doggett begged and pleaded, because Mr. Doctor knew my mom very, very well. And in any case, I didn't want to go to Knox. So I didn't want to go to Mannix 6th form. So I got through, I went to Knox for 2 years.
Had loads of fun.
Oh, let me tell you something.
Knox to this day hear more about that.
2 of the best years of my life. I told her what I brought to school, but I won't say it for PD turning purpose here. But I had 2 of my best teenage years going to Knox. I got through, went to UA. And so I went through a couple of stuff while going through high school, which I'll
you'll talk about because we have questions later for that.
So Mannix 96, left Knox at 98, went to UA. Did my full 3 years there, and something really traumatic happened. I got raped in my last year at UA, and as a result, I migrated 3 weeks after that traumatic experience. And I had made a pledge never ever to go back to Jamaica because of what happened. Mm-hmm. And my life went downhill since. I could not fathom that a 21-year-old man could have gotten raped by a man. And I did go to the police. I will never forget his name. His name was Inspector Barrett. When I told him what happened, he said, there's no way possible that you could have gotten raped because you don't possess a vagina. And when I told him exactly what happened, he said, you got boogered. And if I were to take the case, I'm going to have to arrest you. And I'm like, I got raped. He said, yeah, I hear you, but you got boogered. And me have to go arrest you. So my best bet was to leave. So I left Jamaica and went downhill for a bit. I completed my degree in New York and I got my first degree in African history and minored in international relations. And 9 years ago, I did a master's in public administration. So, who I am now since high school, I'm a writer, advocate, researcher, and because of my traumatic experience, I started a nonprofit organization that deals with male victims of sexual trauma. And 2019, we're going to celebrate our 10th year. And I'm just beyond excited for that journey and what I've allowed that traumatic experience to do for me as a person. And I have been involved in social services for about 12 years. 2 years ago, I got this grand idea that, you know what, it's so time to give up that baton. And I walked away from social services, being an admin for 7 years with the city, getting a pretty decent salary. And I decided to take on my organization full time. And early this year, I decided to venture into construction, which is something that most people like, construction? You of other person?
Construction.
Construction. So for those of you who may see me on either Instagram or Facebook under the name of Brian Dennis, but we'll talk about the name change later on, I'm always getting my hands dirty. And I so enjoy ripping out walls, tearing up floors, and creating just a brand new space for someone to live in. So in a nutshell, that's me. But my life, for the most part, transformed at 30. On my actual birthday, I got hit by a cab in Manhattan, in Midtown. And it forced me to ask that eternal question of why I didn't die on that day. And when you ask yourself in that moment, when you get hit and everything flashes back before you, you know, ask your Father, your God, Jesus, whomever you decide to serve as your religion, you ask that eternal question, what is your real purpose for living? And I started asking that question, and ever since I've taken on this habit for traveling. So every year I go to at least 5 to 6 countries, and I spend 1 month in Europe every year.
So your current location is?
I live in Westchester County in New York. I bought a old house, and I know you've been following me. I've literally direct from the first and third floor and the basement.
I'm gonna visit you now.
Transformed it completely.
I'm going to his bed and breakfast, guys.
Yeah,
I have to book like 3-4 months
yes,
in advance.
and I have bread and breakfast on the house. So for some reason, I don't know why, but it never stays unbooked for very short period of time. So.
I think it has something to do with the owner and the service and the personal touch that you have provide,
to. You really have to give that
experiences and the moments you create for the people that come through that place. And that's all we have left in this life is those moments, right?
Small, intimate, personal moments.
There you go. So, no kids yet? You're practicing?
I'm practicing. I'm working on that. I'm almost there. But I'll be 40 in the next year.
But I know you want to have kids.
And a couple months. Oh, hell yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, hell yes.
Hobbies. What do you do for fun?
So, I started gardening probably about 8 years ago. And it's more cathartic for me to go to Home Depot, go to flower shops, get the buds, dig up the yard, plant them, actually having conversations with the flower as they're budding, as they're coming up. And as they bloom, cut them one by one, create floral arrangement. I'd love to create floral arrangements. So gardening is one of my hobbies. I enjoy cooking a whole lot. That's one of my pet peeves. Once I'm at your house, I will cook you a lovely meal.
Aww.
I'm gonna mean no plastic plate, no red cup. Me mean the China will come out and me I cook a good meal and find that in situation that you're gonna get. And I won't consider me traveling to be a hobby. Traveling for me is more of me giving myself the opportunity to learn more about this world that we live in. So that is why at least twice per year I go to 2 new countries that I've never ever been before.
Any surprises as you do this? What any aha moments as you travel to different countries?
Last year I went to Rome and I was sitting at the Colossus and I was like, Jamaican, And me start right as in a room. This is Asian history. And I'm like, so my first degree is history. And I'm like, I read about this place in so many books. And here am I sitting down right next to Colossus in the room, just chilling under some palm trees. And I'm like, I couldn't even believe that I'm here. But what really happened that was so intriguing in my awe moment, there's an old woman who she and her husband were just sitting down, just enjoying nature. And they were laughing, and I was just in my own space. And I don't even know how we end up got into a conversation. And I asked them how long they've been together. They were together for over 80 years.
Wow.
And I wanted to know what was their secret. And it was love and forgiveness. As simple as that. There's not more.
No secret sauce apart from that.
No, just, you see, sometimes we don't understand what forgiveness is because we tend to project forgiveness to be on someone else. It has to come from within you first. And you have to learn to love you unconditionally before you get the opportunity to love someone else. How can you say you love someone but you don't even know what it's like to love you? It defeats the purpose. It makes no sense.
That's a whole nother episode. We're going to go back to favorites. Back in the day at Manning School. Favorite teacher, subject, and memories. Favorite teacher. You only get one.
Miss Jackson.
Yes, why?
And I went back home to look for her, gave her 2 of my books. So me and Miss Jackson had a love relationship. She was hot, sexy, attractive. I struggled with dyslexia, did not have dyslexia until I came to the US. But she couldn't figure out why is it I couldn't spell. Why is it that the whole grammar English thing just child.
I don't think so.
But no. But I really went out, got tested, and I have dyslexia. And Miss Jackson was one of the few teachers who went above and beyond. Some of you may remember Catchup.
Yes, absolutely.
So Catchup was that bright girl.
Yes.
That always come number one.
Yes.
Get all the best grades. Light-skinned Indian girl. Every boy want to talk to Catchup. And 1 year, I think it was 3rd form, I got the highest grade on it. Yes. My lit grade surpassed even Catchup. I was on high. And
Big up,
that was because of Mrs. Jackson. And I guess that one, I loved her for the class, her classiness. The womanness that she brought to her classroom. Even though I remember at one point we had this huge argument with her and she came on and said, I am the BOSS. Yes. Amber Crow, she'll probably remember that. Yes, that. Do you remember that one? So it's just Miss Jackson, everything that she brought to me and let me realize that if you just take the time and believe that you can do it, and this is not even a disrespect to Kadra, because I looked up to her, yes, but to know for a fact that I could think
she's gonna take
surpass,
it that way, man.
But that was the only time I surpassed her.
Look here, it's like anybody beat Annalisa Valina in a full class. Yo,
even for just one time,
Christmas.
You don't want to you just want to say one time, you pass her, and that's it.
You don't feel good for Chris. Yo, nobody just can talk to you for that one time. Until the next test, you know, say,
that's it.
And I got up there again.
You can't be that squid again. It's mad.
Yo, yeah. So don't worry. Good.
So Miss Jackson, that's my favorite teacher.
All right. Subject.
Geography.
You like Geo? Why?
Yeah, Geo because what's that Geo teacher name again? Ferguson.
Okay, I've had.
No, we had Miss Rumbold in second form. The Indian lady. Ferguson. Got Miss Ferguson. Just nice. Just nice. Just nice, sweet lady, and she just made me just love
the class and the subject.
Yes.
Memories. So which memories back in Manning School days, man, that is just like,
There's some PG that I can't talk about. So I'm trying to think of the ones that I can't.
You can share in case your kids listening. Look at it, they put on the headphones.
Lodge is that, no, we can't talk about that one. I think again, no. I'm trying to. You know what? It's not a good memory though. What? But it is something that stood out for me for a very, very long time.
Yes.
And something that haunted me. You remember we had religious studies. and the priest from next door, from that church across from school. There's a big church that's across from
United?
Yes. So is the priest name or father?
Pastor, whatever.
Whoever.
Are United? I think
Yes.
are United right across from us.
Yes. So whomever was in charge of the church or preached at the church, he was teaching us religious education. And I remember I was very quiet. A lot of people don't know why is it throughout most of my high school years I was
So quiet.
somewhat quiet. And Willie, don't remember Willie's last name, but there's this guy named Willie that used to tease me. And Samba was in my class. Fiona Gordon was in my class. Conroy Jackson was in my class also. And Willie, and there's a light-skinned guy that lives in Petersfield that used to be in the class. But I was the quietest of everybody. And I remember the pastor guy came over, and just before everybody, he said that most young boys who are quiet and timid turn out to be homosexuals. And it haunted me for a very, very long while, because what that drilled into my head was my quietness, my soft demeanor, meant that automatically that is who I was going to become. And I didn't even understand the context in which it was said. It was as homophobic could be. The word within itself is traumatic for me as a young man, because I grew up believing that all gay men are soft and timid and have nothing masculine or anything strong about them. And it haunted me for a very, very long time. But I've passed that. I've passed that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you have to talk about your personality a little bit, but I'm going to ask anyways. The words that come to mind when you describe yourself back in high school, I'm going to ask you the words today. So what words come to mind? You touched on a few already.
For high school?
Mm-hmm. To describe yourself, how did you see yourself?
Very jovial.
Jovial.
Rotten.
Rotten.
Nasty. One of my names in high school was Prosty. I don't even know how I got that one, but I was very sexual, and that had more to do with
Other
issues
things
that I was
that we'll
going
talk
through.
about later.
Yeah. But I was also reserved. With all of that, I was very reserved, but I realized that my jovialness was more me masking the pain that I was going through. That was ready to talk about. So rather me coming to school, being miserable and trying to come to terms with all that was going on at home, it was easier for me to just be a fool, just make fun and just carry on.
And challenge the
Yeah.
authority.
Yep.
How about words for you today? What words come to mind when you describe who you are today?
I'm a motivator for one.
Yes.
I challenge myself literally every single day. I consider myself to be shy and an introvert. Most people think I am not. But if I don't know you, I will not speak.
Okay.
Trust me, I will be in a setting and 5 hours and me not say nothing. But if I feel a good energy or a good vibe, I will run like a parakeet, honestly. But if I don't know you, my mouth is shut. And for me personally, if I have nothing constructive to say to contribute to a conversation, it's either for me to just keep my mouth shut rather than to make an answer to myself. So, no.
What did you used to believe about yourself? Now that you look back, you say that was total bullshit, or it has changed significantly.
I believe I was going to grow up to be a pastor. Yes.
Say it one more time.
I grew up believing I was going to become a pastor.
At what point in time?
From I was about 8, growing up in the high school, I thought I was going to become a pastor. I thought that was my actual calling, to be a pastor.
Why? How? When?
You know what? So I grew up in a family.
This is new to me.
And my uncle's a pastor. My uncle's the elder in the church. My aunt's the elder in the church. My mom went to Tarleton. Somewhere, I don't know where Tarleton, but my mom went to Tarleton. My grandmother went to Seventh Adventist Church. So it's one of those challenges where I had to go to church both Sunday and Saturday. So religion for a very, very long time has always been a part of who I am. And had to get up and do devotion in the morning, do devotion in the evening.
Do the rituals.
Yes, so it became so much a part of
Huge
who
part of your life
yes.
and your foundation.
Yes, so I felt that was where I should have gone, not knowing that I don't even step in a church anymore. I'd probably feel I'd get burned if I walk in one right now, but God bless you if I walk in one.
What advice would you give your younger self back in high school? What would you tell Tyson? Fifth form, let's pick a period. What would you tell that guy before you went to Nax?
Trust someone to have that honest conversation about what was going on rather than keeping that secret for such a long time. The only person I was actually close to two people. Andre Simmet, who everybody knows Slippery, and Fiona Raymond. And I kept a lot, as close as we were. They knew nothing whatsoever. My relationship, my ad hoc love and hate relationship with my mom, though, it's only Slippery and Fiona who had a window to that. And most people probably don't know, but I was living at Slippery's house for a while. And Slippery's grandmother became my grandmother when my grandmother passed. So when Slippery's grandmother passed 3 years ago, I had to go back home. And that was my first time going back to Jamaica. And I went back for grandma's funeral. And I could not have missed that. Not even to save my life. I had to have gone back home. And
you wish you would share more?
Yeah. The reason I'm saying I wish I should have shared more. If I had shared more, I would not have taken on the adult burden of that traumatic experience on myself. Yes. So you remember most kids when they were going to high school, we had this orange or yellow and white juice jug thing that had a sprout. So I had one of those and I brought orange juice and white from in there for most of my time going to Mannix. And because of Jamaican culture, nobody really watch kid drinking liquor. Got me a drink liquor from me, a boy. And I developed a drinking habit to the point where by the time I got to 24, my liver was completely destroyed. So I don't drink anymore. But it started from that. Me using that liquor.
Last night.
No, juice and water. That's it. And I still do get peer pressure when I go out. And my friends are like, lads, taste and also. Trust me, if I even taste this much, I'm going to fall down.
But like, when I get Irish still even without getting.
Child, can you imagine if I drank? If I don't drink, I'm this turned up. Can you imagine if I was drinking?
Oh my God. That is. So, when you said that, there is another classmate that is going to share something similar to yours. And that was her advice as well. She kept it.
Yeah.
And she was also close to me. And she said, I didn't even tell you, Nackia. So
when I told, I went to London to look for Fiona, and I told, believe me, man, she cried. At a point, she was angry and upset with me.
Yeah.
But you see, when you're a child, because at 14, you're still a child. When things like that happen to you, it's like, it's not even who do you say, who do you trust to keep that secret?
Yes.
And having that secret come out, just the repercussion of what could happen.
And the weight of that secret could do more damage if it's in the wrong hands.
Yes.
That could even make you feel worse than the current situation that you
I still have marks on my hands for attempting to kill myself throughout high school. And nobody knew until when I decided to start write the books and tell the story for who I am.
She also has. You guys' path is very similar. And you'll see her episode. Yeah? So walk us through one of the most challenging seasons of your life.
In high school?
And then the second piece is, what did you learn about yourself? You can choose high school. This is your catch-up.
Oh.
What was a challenging season? What did you learn about Tyson?
So I'm gonna leave the young parts. I'm gonna bring back to me being an adult. I went to Brussels, and in Brussels they speak both Dutch and French. And I'd gone on vacation, went to a museum, came out, it was raining, and got shelter across at a pasta. And after rain stopped falling, I came back outside, asked for directions, and because of the language barrier, nobody could help me. And I found myself standing atop of the pasta, looking down at a stone garden. And for the first time in my entire life, I heard my heartbeat. And I could hear myself breathing in and out. And that was my first encounter of stillness. Mark you, there were a lot of people around me. But in that moment, I was able to stand alone with all the busy people coming around me and hear my heartbeat, hear myself breathing through my lungs in and out. And I heard a whispering voice. So some people say it's the spirit. It's my conscience having that one-on-one conversation with me. And I went back home to my hotel and just started going through music. And I started listening to Alabaster Box.
By CC?
Minus, yes. But I listened to the version from Lillian McLeod from American Idol. No, it's in American Idol.
Who knows?
Whichever one.
But it's the words.
But the one from Lillian McLeod, believe me, every time I listen to it, it gives me goosebumps. But that was one of that moment that transformed me up to this day, because when I get angry and flustered, I get back to that moment. Yesterday, my glasses broke. I'm usually always wearing glasses. And I was with my best friend, and he says, "Lord God, so what you gonna do?" I said, "None." He said, "You're gonna sit." I said, "I'll be okay." And I just woosa and just say, "Hey, guess what? There's nothing in this moment that I can do to fix the problem that just happened." So what I've learned now at almost 39, I'm 39 in a couple of weeks, is when you get angry and flustered, the way through it is to just get still and centered. There are certain things in this life we have little or no control over. Focus only on what you have control over. The other things, minor, let it go. I don't even worry about money no more. And I'm not wealthy, I'm not rich, I'm comfortable. I don't worry about money anymore. It makes no sense. And I'm very much happy and content.
So that was like a very defining moment.
Yeah, man. That was my moment when I got to, I think, 34. Yeah, it was before I did my gratitude trip. So what happened from 30? I keep going on this eternal search to ask that big question: what is my purpose? What is my calling? So my calling is me using that traumatic experience to give back to those who are less fortunate than myself, who didn't have the opportunity to either go to therapy, afford therapy, to get professional help, to get to where I'm at. So I'm in a good place right now. As you realize, I haven't dwelled on the story. The story doesn't define me. It is not who I am. It is a part of the story. And I'm thankful and grateful for that experience, because if that experience didn't occur, I couldn't be here right now.
Yes.
So I'm full of myself because of that.
Understood.
I'm more confident in myself. And people will say I'm bossy,
Cocky,
show off. That's okay. I'm full of myself. And there's nothing wrong in being full of yourself. For what I, as a boy, and I can now tell the story, I was sexually abused at 5. I was raped between 14 to 16 by a neighbor who I must say, you are one of the few persons who know who that man is. And I got raped at 21. That is my story. And I have no need to go into any graphic details of who did it and me being bitter and angry. It happened. I've survived. And that's the key thing. I survived. And I'm here to tell the story. And the reason why I tell the story, how I keep telling the story, and highlight my success and my achievement, is to allow other young boys who have either gone through what I've experienced, struggling with what I've experienced, that there is a light at the end of that tunnel. You have to come to terms with whatever is going on. and you first have to learn to forgive yourself. That's it. And I dwell with forgiveness and understanding vulnerability. Me, you having this conversation, I'm in a vulnerable space. I trust you. I know you're not going to hurt me. I know you're not going to harm me. And I feel safe with you to tell that story. But there's no need for me to go into graphic details.
And there's no desire on my part.
But hear what? Most people
Want to know.
Want to know.
Because their motives are different.
And I never feed onto that.
Yeah.
The story is mine and mine alone. It's not for anybody else.
Motives are different.
It took years of going to therapy to get
to that point.
I gotta own it. Own the story. You hear how long I took to tell my story? Less than a minute. Because I'm not looking for empathy. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for a handout. I'm not looking for someone to say, Lord Jesus, that did they go through in high school? Boy, I didn't know. When I went to Cyprus' grandmother, somebody said to me, you know, so from me, I got high school bonus is the body man. And I look at her and I say, come here. I say what you said to me a while ago. And she said, no, man. I never mean if you offend you. I say, trust me, I am the least offended. I said, how did you know I was homosexual again? She said, Lord, me just see your behavior. I said, darling,
you can't tell
up to 21, I didn't know what me like, man. Honestly. No, and another knew that you probably not know. I was going to get married to anyone else, to a woman.
I did not know that.
And she is, to this day, one of the love of my life. I love Karen unconditionally. But I knew for a fact that, I won't say something wasn't right. I knew there was a part of me that I had not fully explored. And there were so many question marks about my sexuality, my sexual urges. And because of that unconditional love for her, I purposely told her I would not risk getting married, having kids, finding out later on that this is who I am.
And then breaking that up.
No, I could not have
building
that.
and destroying.
No. That's just not right. No. But I still love her. I still love her. And I don't even know what spectrum to put myself on sometimes. You get me?
And I believe it is a spectrum. That's not
it is.
Belief.
Yeah,
don't have to share it.
No, but as gay as I am, I'm being very, very honest with you because I do enjoy having sex with women too. But it's more of an emotional thing. Because having sex with a man does not make you homosexual. And most people just think that the sexual act makes you. No. I mean, you had sex with a man and that's it.
Can't have sex with that whole. You're not wrong. Anything.
Different conversation.
So the act does not equate to love.
No.
And the connection. And the partnership.
No.
What is the best advice you ever received from someone else and why?
Larry Kramer.
Yes.
He is a gay rights advocate that has been, because Larry's not dead yet, has been advocating for HIV/AIDS. And years ago, back in the 80s, Larry wrote a very, very small book about the epidemic that was going on in the US. And one thing that he wrote that stood out for a very, very long time with me is ultimate and true happiness comes only from within. And the way to happiness is to love and understand you first. When I read the book, I didn't fully grasp it. But as I got older, I kept on the book and I kept going back over and over and I realized,
it makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm living testament to that advice that he's giving to me. I love myself unconditionally.
It shows.
Well,
what does success mean to you?
That's a hard one. Because success can be subjective, can be objective at times. But I think
at this point in this season,
you know what?
From this perspective,
success for me is going home after completing a project, knowing for a fact I've given my all, I've done my best, and I know for a fact there's nothing more that I can put into it. That's it.
Understood. What are you most proud of at this point?
The legacy that I'm building, the legacy that I am leaving behind for young Black men who didn't have a voice, when I went to the US trying to get help for my trauma, I did not see anyone who looked like me
Yes.
talking about what I had endured.
When you say look like you mean African American?
Just black.
You mean black?
Yes, just a
Just
plain
black.
black. I'm not even talking about the gay part.
Yes.
Because too often people...
You're talking about the abuse part?
Yes, because here, I'm a human rights advocate, but my focus is on sexual trauma.
Sexual trauma.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be
No,
of
because
the same.
there's no link, and this is something I need to let people fully
Please
grasp and
educate us.
understand. There's no direct link between male sexual abuse and homosexuality.
Really?
90% of men who are perpetrators of male sexual abuse identify themselves as heterosexuals.
Interesting.
There's also this myth and theory that most abuse and most rape that goes on, it's stranger rape. No. Literally every single survivor know their perpetrator. Without that trust factor come into play, it never can happen. You got to trust the person. The child has to trust the grown adult in order for them to take advantage. It's power and control, you know. Sex abuse has nothing to do with sex, sexual orientation, gender. It's all about power and control. That is it. My abuser, as you do know who he was, he saw the vulnerability within me. He knew I had no father figure at home. It was just my mother, my sister. And he saw all that I was lacking at. That predator effect. So he knew the right thing. But guess what? No matter what he threw out there at me, he never grabbed me in. But you'd have to read the book to understand that whole story.
And the book, the title?
God, I've written how many books now? 4 books.
All right.
So the first one is called The Cries of Men, Voice of Jamaican Men Who've Been Raped and Sexual Abuse. The second one is Understanding Male Sexual Abuse. I've written a training manual that works with clinicians, social workers, and teachers in identifying the signs of childhood sexual trauma, because they are indeed signs. So what I did for myself, I went out and I did the research. Wrote the book with Dr. Kim Arrington. So I'm not just spitting words because I want to spit words from my emotions. I went out, did the research with a trained professional, and I'm now giving the information. That's it.
And the fourth, is there another one?
The fourth one,
is that the new one?
No man, the new one is coming out
So there'll be a fifth one.
The fifth one's coming out in spring.
So the fourth, so it might eclipse. So still tell us, unless you're not good, you can't.
No.
So the fourth one is?
The fourth one is Love on the Wire.
Love on the Wire. Okay.
Yes.
And then the fifth?
The fifth one.
By the way, they're going to be on the screen right now.
As of now, the fifth one is called Love and Marriage. The publishers may change it, but my title that I submitted
that you proposed
was Love and Marriage. So I decided I wanted to tell the gay narrative, the gay story, a gay love story. So what I wanted to do, and this is me giving back to the younger generation, is Jamaica isn't as homophobic as people make it to be.
So,
it is not.
And doesn't even much loud make it sound.
Yes. You know, always say the crab barrel that makes the most noise, make it seem as if all the way in another big barrel together. But about 5 of them, you know. Yeah, just one of them just loud. Extra like a loudspeaker, you get me? And make it seem as if you're homosexual and you live in Jamaica, that theory from Boom Bye Bye means that you can't live and function in a safe environment, and you're constantly being threatened. And yes, there are those gay Jamaicans who will look at me and say, what they talk about, because I know this we're going through here. I get it. But my reason for writing that story is there's more to one story to our narrative. Will I sit before you and say the beating, the shooting, and killing don't happen? I'll be a liar. I'll be unfair because it does happen. However, I am very conscious that there's another side of that story that happens also. I know many of my friends who are in healthy homosexual relationships for over 10 years. I mean, I want to do it. Them say about everybody know. But you have to understand sexuality. Just like dancehall, how ladies are raw and Spice come out extra raw right now. You have to understand the culture for what it is. There's a certain nuance. There's a certain panache. There's a certain presentation to homosexuality that Jamaican denounce. And we have to own that. The feminizing of manliness or masculinity, the culture denounces that. I've been going back to Jamaica for the past 3 years. I've been there probably about 10 times since Super's grandmother. And me couldn't have no more turn up for now with me at Jamaica, honestly. We just come from Jamaica 3 weeks ago. And it is the best. And I don't have to walk around with a rainbow flag. And that's the thing that people do. And March, I'm not condemning those who walk with the flag, you know. But you have to understand that when I went to Rome, I don't speak Italian. No, I had to walk with a little book and had my translation on Google for say, when me ask direction for go to the Vatican, type on my phone and just press play and Italian come on my phone, right? When in Rome, you do what the Romans do. And because I'm educated, I have to have an educated intellectual conversation about who I am, the narrative that needs to come out of Jamaica. And we have to strike that balance. So I wanted to write a love story that talks about passion, great gay sex, even though people may bash it and I really don't give a, it's just what it is. But there's a young man back home who will read that story and say, you know what, O'Brien, so my writer's name is O'Brien Dennis. So O'Brien was able to put on paper who he envisions me to become. And that little boy can become that person. There's this man named Elin Harrison. And I started reading Elin's book when I was going to UA. And Elin has written probably about 7 books about a character who is Black, African-American, gay, very well established, educated, has money, and very masculine. And that was what I looked up to as a young Black gay man coming out of Jamaica. That's the example of the gay man I wanted to be. That whole girly, flamboyant, yes, and
There, and it's okay if that's who you are.
Nope, I have no problem because guess what? I have many friends who are like that, and we can do down the shabby and all of that. It's what it. If that is who you are, own it 100%. But that's not me, and that's not all of our narrative. And my idea was just to share the other side of the story. So read it. I've actually had more heterosexual women and men who said, because I had one male supervisor, his wife read the book and his wife was adamant that he had to read the book. She said, one, I don't think that young man is gay, because there's no gay man could write sex scenes like this. So it can't be a straight homosexual. And even when he read the book, he came back to the office and he said, we need to have a talk on this because me and my wife had some great sex after that we read that book. So high five to you. Him say, how you do it? It is a story.
Because it's about that energy of passion.
Yes.
And we like to put things in our little categories because it makes us feel, it's, that's a whole nother episode. And I don't like you to take things out of context. I mean, unfriend enough. So let me not go there. So at the end of your life, last question, what do you want us to remember about you?
Wow. How much I was able to take the time to come out of that darkness and create a platform for young kids. So despite the fact I talk about everything else, even though I gave up that city job, I still work with kids. Working with kids is my biggest and greatest passion. And every time one of my kids spot me in the street and come and hug me and give me a high five, that is my biggest paycheck. That's my biggest reward, knowing that I'm able to give back. And the kids remember to say thank you afterwards. So if I die, and when I die, because we are gonna die, I want people to remember that this young boy from Jamaica, who many people told me I would not become something worthwhile of myself, I was able to get recognition from the first African-American president in this United States. And every time I tell that story, I'm like, shit. Because I remember when I got the recognition from Obama, couple years ago, I was like, what the heck did I do? But to get something on paper with Obama's signature, to give me recognition for the work I'm doing, it meant I was doing something worthwhile. To get that recognition from that person, from the highest office in the country that I live in. So that's it. No, I was able to use the darkness and brought light to it, and not just give back to myself, because I've given a whole lot to myself. My aim moving forward is just keep giving back to people. The greatest gift of all is love. Last night was the epitome of what that love is. And you saw it, because you saw when I walked in last night, how Natalie could even, she was beyond
Jump out our body. Jump out our body.
But that's what you do when the love comes so real. It is, and then by the time I came up, everybody felt it. And I said to her last night, to get to that age and to feel it, see it, and embodied it.
And the little baby in the room
felt it. The kids felt what was going on. That is the ultimate example. It's not about my skin color. It is not about my race. It's not about my gender. It's not about my ethnicity, my sexual orientation. These things are minor. We're all human beings, and we all have an interconnection between each other. And it is love that trumps all. I don't care. And people say I have a lifestyle because I'm not wearing Prada or Gucci. And lifestyle is when you're going to put on expensive stuff. I mean.
But when you're ready for just a people look at.
Sorry. And just realize I started going to the gym and working out. But it's more, I've done a complete.
Therapy, yeah. You enjoy it. You seem like you enjoy it. Like it's a thing. Like
no man,
you enjoy it.
I cannot pass 2 days. Can't pass. I'm not going to the gym. It's so I no longer go to clinical therapy anymore because I've evolved past that. I'm at a point where I know my triggers. I know I still struggle with depression. So when I'm in that depressive mode, I know when to stop myself. I know exactly what to do. My best friend lives here in Toronto. So when I'm at that point, that breaking point, when I know for a fact that whatever is going on has consumed me so much, I go online, buy a ticket, I'm on my way. It's less than 2 hours ride from New York to here. And I'll stay at his home for 5 days and I do nothing. And by the time I go back home, I'm so re-energized. It's as if I went to an expensive spa somewhere. But I didn't. I went to my best friend who I consider to be my conscience. He knows every and all about me. And I can say everything to him before him and not feel judged. And most of us don't have that. You have a husband. And I know how close you and your husband are. Mm-hmm. Few people get to have someone. And sometimes you may not find that in your actual partner though. You don't always find that in your partner.
I also know that.
But if you're lucky enough to find that in your partner, hey, don't ever walk away from that person. I don't care what's going on. Don't ever walk.
We didn't find it. We built it.
Yes. But you see.
We never had it in the beginning.
It's a process, you know. It's like a building block.
So I want people to know, whatever you have, whatever I have, whatever you see with my husband, we built it brick by brick. Fight by fight, malice by malice, forgiveness by forgiveness.
Fight by fight.
Fight by
malice
fight.
By malice.
Malice. We say you have some malice in God, you know. Look here, but my seam and the mattress, you know, by the way, him fast as it.
Don't care.
But when me vex, but if I seam, sheet pot.
But you realize that the love is there.
But I love him still.
Unconditionally.
But I love him still.
That is the glue. That is the glue that binds you both together, no matter what happens.
Oh my gosh.
That's it. And hey, you know what?
Come on, people be saying that some go have it or they don't have it like a binary. Some people don't realize it's something that is built. And both people say, we're going to work at this to be better for the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So thank you for participating in Catchup.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm so glad that you were able to share your story. And even though I didn't plan to ask you until 2019, I'm glad that you came here and you said yes.
Yep.
Yes. The purpose for this story is that I'm 100% sure that you know someone that has experienced sexual trauma, whether it be a friend, a person in your family, a child. And so, if that child chooses you to be that special person to share that secret that they hold, please understand how critical your role is and help and not hurt. And if you are the one that have experienced sexual trauma, hopefully by Tyson sharing his story, that you know that you can survive. And this is just a moment in time. And that you should take the leap and tell someone that you trust and share it. With that, I want to say like our videos, share our videos with our schoolmates, and please subscribe to our channel so that you can keep up with weekly episodes every Monday to catch up with your schoolmates and your former teachers. Have a fantastic day. Bye bye.
All right.
Give me hugs.
Yes. 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 Yes.